Are you struggling to find the right aperture to capture stunning wildlife photographs? In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 major reasons why I use the aperture I do. Because of this, my art buyers and collectors love my work, so they keep coming back for more. If you do the same, you will elevate your wildlife photography and make your photographs just impossible to ignore. Alright guys, let's get into it. Hey guys, this is Ijaz. I am a fashion and a wildlife photographer here in New York. After shooting for designers, magazines, art galleries, fine art prints, I have realized that we have a tendency of making photography difficult. Let's break it down. Let's make it super easy. Make it simple in your mind first, and everything else will fall into place. Guys, let's make photography easy. Alright guys, so these are the 3 reasons why I use the aperture I do. And you can too, to get this, and this. So number 1 reason why I shoot with a wide open aperture is because it allows me to shoot early in the morning and it allows me to shoot late in the evening when the sun is setting. What does that mean? It means that I can shoot longer. It means that I am flooding my camera sensor with so much light that it's helping me shoot even though the environment is darker. I have a story on that. I was shooting in France.
It is cold in the south of France. Isn't that insane?
I had like several other photographers with me and we were photographing the command horses. The sun has not come up yet, but the horses were going up on their twos and so on. And I'm taking my photographs, but the other photographers that were next to me, they were like, we can't shoot. I'm like, why? It's too dark. Why is it too dark? The reason why it was dark is because they were shooting at f8 and f11. There's no reason to shoot at f8 and f11 when you're shooting a horse, in my opinion at least. When I asked them, why are you shooting at f8 and f11? They said, oh, because we want the horse to be sharp all the way through. I was shooting at 2.8. I had a focal length of 200. Though the sun had not come out, it wasn't dark, but at the same time, the camera could see more than my eye was seeing. So that's one of the reasons why I shoot with a open, wide aperture, simply because I get more time on location. Even if it is 5.6, even if it is the widest your camera can go, it's still better than f8 and f11 because at that you're not sending in any light. If you're not sending in any light, it's going to be dark. You won't have enough time. And then guess what? The sun comes out. What do? Nothing, because it's going to be harsh and it's going to be horrible. So reason number 1 is simply because I get extra time on location. Now, number 2 is something that I have mentioned to you guys on this channel again and again and again. I'm going to say it to you one more time. If I'm shooting with a 2.8, 1.8, 1.4, f4, 5.6, whatever the lens widest aperture is, what is going to happen? If I'm focusing on the eye is going to be tack sharp. Everything else is going to start getting blurry. What does that do? It helps my audience focus exactly where I want them to look. So if I want them to look at the horse's eye, they're looking at the horse's eye. If I want them to look at the bear's eye, they're looking at the bear's eye. Whatever I am focused on, they are going to be focused on. What does that do? It keeps them mesmerized, right? Because they don't know that they're focusing on the eye and everything else is blurry. Subconsciously, their eye goes straight to the eye or to what I'm trying to show to them. Bottom line, that just creates this mesmerizing moment that they can look away. It's like somebody's looking at you, you got to look back into the eye, right? So that's what happens. And that is the reason why I shoot with a low, wide open f-stop. Keep this in mind. If you are looking at somebody in the eye, what are they going to do? They're going to look back at you, right? If they don't look back at you, there's something wrong. So when I'm shooting with a low f-stop, everything else is getting blurry and I'm looking straight at my subject's face. When your audience looks at your subject's face and sees that the subject is looking straight into them, they cannot move away. So that is very, very captivating, and that's one of the reasons why my buyers are always there saying, we can't look away, Ijaz. What do you do? What do you do? How do you do it? Reason number 2 is not something that I have invented. I mean, everyone does it in the film industry. If you ask the biggest DPs that there are in Hollywood, they shoot at T1.2, T1.4. If they are shooting with such open apertures, us photographers, we should shoot with open apertures. The reason why they are doing it is the same reason what I said to you, is because they want their viewer to look exactly where they want them to look. This image is shot with such a low aperture. I believe it was 2.8. But I'm going to try and sharpen the image in the background as well in Photoshop, and you tell me which one is more pleasing. Look at this and look at that. I personally like the one that is a shallow depth of field, and that's my taste and that's my choice. I hope it's the same for you, unless you like it the other way where everything is sharp and the audience does not know where to look. They're looking at the subject, they're looking at the trees at the back, they're looking at the water, they're looking at everything. So they are losing focus. They lose focus, you get nothing. You keep their focus, they buy your image. The third reason why I use the aperture I do is this. Sometimes using a f2.8 and you're throwing in so much light onto the sensor. What do you need to do? You need to cut it back. How do you cut it back? You cut it back by increasing your shutter speed. What does that do? When you increase your shutter speed, now you can handhold it. If it's not such a long lens like a 600, you can handhold it. Matter of fact, you can handhold 600 as well for a minute or two and then rest it and pick it up again. When you have a very high shutter speed, 4,000 of a second, and the only way you can get it there is if you are shooting with a very wide open aperture. Even if you don't handhold it and you put it on a tripod, now shoot it with 4,000 of a second. What's happening to your image? Tack, 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 sharp. That is the third reason why it is so important, because a lot of the people that come along with me for different kind of shoots, they say, why are my images so blurry? Well, one of the reasons why they are blurry is because you are shooting it at 800 of a second and the animal is running or something is going on and the wind is blowing, and there are so many factors behind it. So if you flood your camera with f2.8, or if you flood it with f1.8 or even f5.6, what will happen? You'll need to compensate for that with your shutter speed, and you will have to raise your shutter speed from 800 to 2000. And if you take it to 2000, what's going to happen to your image? Sharp, sharp, sharp. Now look at this image. This image is shot with a very wide open f-stop. Look how tack sharp it is. Look at this image, wide open f-stop. It's tack sharp. I mean, I can keep going on and on and on and showing you all the different images. All of them have one thing in common. I go to the widest f-stop on the lens. What that does, sharp image, focused image for the audience, and you absolutely cannot look away. Here is an example. The environment was absolutely dark. Can you tell? No, you cannot. Why? Because I shot it with 2.8. Look at this image. I shot it with 2.8. The location was dark. It was early in the morning. Can you tell? No. Why? Wide open f-stop. Same thing here. I shot it really late after the sun had gone down. Can you tell? No, you can't. Why? Widest f-stop. It is so important to get more time in the field with the subject. I want to take one of them home. So what is my number of f-stop? My number of f-stop is 2.8, 1.8, 1.4, 5.6. I don't ever go past that. 5.6 is very rare. I barely go to 5.6. I go down to the widest aperture of my lens. And I know that everybody's going to turn around and say, it's not the sharpest. I totally agree. It's not the sharpest. 2.8 is not going to be as sharp as 5.6. Guarantee you. But you know what? I'm not selling sharpness. I'm selling emotions. Emotions in my images. The advantages of shooting with a wide open f-stop are far more than shooting with f8 and f11, and especially wildlife. For that matter, I'm speaking fashion as well, right? So the wide open you go, the better it's going to be. I hope you guys understood what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. Watch it one time, bang, you have it, and then you go practice. F 2.8, 1.8, 1.4, my go-to, and I hope you guys do the same thing. If not, go to 5.6, but still open it up to the widest your lens can go. Promise you, you'll see a huge difference. Your audience will love it. Hopefully you're selling your images, your clients will love it, and they won't even know why they're mesmerized. All right, guys, thank you so much. See you later. Bye-bye.